Hello everyone, this is Griffin, art director for Psycho Spectacle, and welcome to another Ardomanian lesson. Last time we talked about the alphabet, and this week, following off of that, we are going to be talking about the numbering system in Ardomanian. Now, before we get started, we're gonna choose a pen that isn't gross and colored like, what is that? It's kind of it's a beige. Let's go with a nice, red. That's not red. Thank you. Wow. Sorry, didn't know I was asking so much. Like the color red, please. Okay. Before we get started, let's see where the numbering system comes from. Now, Ardomanian has a base 16 number system. And as you may notice from what I am drawing right now, I'm drawing a compass rose. The base 16 number system just comes from the directions on a compass rose. You've got your four main ones, you've got your cardinal directions, and then you've got these tiny ones that no one cares about because those don't really get you anywhere. Anyway, though, that is where the base of the that's not. I apologize. Photoshop is not being my friend. That is where, let's leave that up there. Let's leave it up there. Future reference. There we go. Okay. Yeah, the number system is based on a compass rose. This is also where Ardomanian's religion's based off of, but I'm not going to get that into that, in this video. These are about, speaking a nice fake language that I made up. Anyway, though, let's keep going. Numbers. Last time we talked about letters, let's talk about numbers. Base 16 number system. However, I don't really need to write out all 16. Not yet. To understand it, let's first look at the first 5. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. Wow, my tablet's just being a pain. Okay, let's look at the first 5 numbers in Ardomanian. As you may be able to expect, this is 0 and this is 1. However, then we have 2, 3, and 4. 0 through 4. Really pay attention to 1 through 4 because this will rules for 4 it will be apparent later. Base 16, we're going to be separating this into 4 chunks of numbers. Now let's go over the names of these numbers. 0 is net. Net. It's like nothing. Net. Then 1. Ena. 2. Vri. 3. Tros. And then 4. Nada. These are the very first 4 numbers in the Ardomanian numbering system. Now, oh wow, I thought my page was way bigger than that. Okay, let's move on to the next ones. Now, the reason I say, pay attention to the first 4 is because to know the shapes, so know the symbols for the next numbers, they're pretty much the first 4, but just with a little alteration in them. So let's write this out a couple more times. And then our last set. And this is the number 16 here. This is where things start to, change up a bit. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And I'm on a slant, but okay. So, to distinguish 5, 6, 7, and 8 from 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's just a dash. And the way these are pronounced, it's just like the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, but with a little syllable appended to them. For example, 5. Enave. You append this ve to the end of the word. For 6. Vrive. And you can probably guess the other ones. Trosve and Nadave. The same kind of rule applies to pretty much all the other ones until 16. To distinguish this third set, it's all dashes. In the fourth set, it is bumps. Now, to pronounce this third set, 9 through 12, you do the same thing you do with 5 through 8. You take the name of the number from the first 4 sets, and then you append another thing to it. Except this time it's not in the same location. You append. My 2s are not 2s, my S's. I'm having trouble writing my S's today. Iseva. Now, this would be 9. Iseva. And then Isfri. Istros. And then for 12, Isnada. Pretty simple. And finally, let's do these last 3 before we get to 16. 16 is where things start getting a little weird. After a certain point in 16, the Ardomanian numbering system gets a little complicated. But we're not going to go too high today. We'll cover higher numbers, later episode. Take this bit by bit. Now, for here, wow, that is a big line. Don't need that. For 13, Avena. For 14, Avavri. And then for 15, Avatros. And then number 16, completely different, Nu. Those are the numbers 1 through 16 of the Ardomanian numbering system. Now, I do plan to, we're not just going to discuss numbers. We're going to talk about, how old you are, stuff like that in this episode. But before we get into that, let's cover 16 a bit. I'm not going to go too far because, as I said, numbers when it comes to multiples of 16 in the Ardomanian numbering system get a little weird. So anyway, I'm going to teach you numbers 16, if I can get my notes out, 16 through 64. And then intermediate numbers, we will call them. It follows the exact same pattern here as the other numbers in the numbering system. So we have 16, 32, 48, and 64. Number 16, as I said, Nu. Venu. For 48. Sorry, not Venu. I always get this one mixed up because it's a little different from the other two. It's appended at the end instead of at the front. Nuve. Now we start doing things at the front. Start getting our hands to work. Isnu. And Avenu. Now let's talk about intermediate numbers. To recap, 16 through 64 all follow the same number scheme as the numbers before 16, or the same kind of, pattern. To do numbers in between these, it's really just like we do here, 11. It's like 10 and 1. Well, here it's like 16, and to do 11, you just add, the 1. So this here would be Nueva, which also is new in Spanish. Nueva. Let's do pick a fun one. Let's do 12. Okay, so nu. And then whoops. Nu. No have nada. No have nada. And basically you're just saying 12. Very, very simple. And, you know, I'm going to stop our number adventure there. Because anything past 64, everything starts getting weird in how everything is structured. So we'll cover that for a later one. And also I kind of need to invent some numbers. and you know, invent some patterns, because right now I'm still like I've been working hard on this numbering system, guys. Anything past 64 gets a little hard to implement, so I'm trying to make it so it's a little more streamlined than what it is now. Anyway, though, let's learn how to say I am however many years old in Ardomanian. And you know, I like this. I like this document for future reference, so if we would not use the circle marquee, let's move all that up a bit. Up there. Let's move this up. All that. And let's shove these up here. Oh, for shame, I did it on the background. I don't like it when I do that. Do it. Use your layers, guys. Use your layers. Anyway. Whoa, that's not how you divide things. Let's learn how to say your name. Not your name. Names come later. Numbers first. How old you are in Ardomanian. Now, in English, we would say, I'm blah blah years old. I'm 18 years old. I'm 22 years old. In Ardomanian, you would say, I have seen this many years. And I'm not going to analyze the sentence structure of Ardomanian just yet, because that's a little advanced. But I will write out a sentence for you. And we will talk about it. I won't analyze it too much. I might a bit. Okay. I am sorry. Wow. I need to actually pay attention to what I'm writing. The structure, you know, I'll go over it a bit while I'm writing this out. The structure in Ardomanian is a little funky when compared to English. You've got these strange markers at the beginning and ends of sentences. And basically what this one here is telling you is the tense the sentence is in. And this one here is telling you if it's a statement. This is basically punctuation. It's telling you if it's a statement, a question, something like that. And then in the middle, there's a... I'll get to that when we get there. So anyway... Nouvri epoger. So... is viamol, say. Now the way you would read this off is Xiri, Nouvri, eporger, so is viamol, say. As you might be able to, well, as you have heard, the punctuation in Ardomanian has a sound. This one here being Xiri, which this is actually, it indicates compound past. So when we read this out, it's I have seen 18 years. I'm 18 years old. I have seen 18 years. And so Xiri tells us that this is, composite past tense, but that's much later. The say at the end, this is, hey, this is a statement. And then the so, it's actually it's the real period. I like to think of it. this is like telling you, what kind of sentence it is. So tells you where the sentence actually ends, because Ardomanian, unlike English, Ardomanian is like English, but written backwards. You talk about the subject of your sentence, you mark the period, and then you talk about what's happening to the subject. So, for instance here, this would be Nufri epoger, so 18 years. Epog is year in Ardomanian. Epoger is the plural. And so 18 years, period, isviamol. I have seen. Isviamol is the conjugated way. It's the conjugation in the mol form, which mol is I in Ardomanian. Isviamol is just the conjugation of the verb isviani. And isviani is to have seen, or not to have seen, but to see. Isviani. So isviamol, I see, but since xiri here at the beginning, xiri, isviamol, instead of being read as I see, it's read as I have seen. There are only, like, in Spanish, in French, we'll do French. In French, they're like your ER verbs and your IR verbs and verbs like that. But in Ardomanian, there are only ani verbs. There's no other kind, and there's only one way to conjugate them. Or there's only one set of conjugations for them. There's no conjugations depending on the tense. It all comes into this marker here. So, xiri nuvi eporger so isviamol se. Se being this at the end. It's a little complicated. We'll get more into it later. But just put here whatever your age is, and then everything else is, I have seen this many years. I am this many years old. Xiri nuvri. I'm stuttering. Xiri nuvri epogerso isviamolse. Xiri nuvri epogerso isviamolse. Xiri nuvri epogerso isviamolse. I have seen 18 years. I'm 18 years old. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. I've already babbled about sentence structure a bit too much, probably made it a bit too complicated. But I think that's good progress for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and IndieDB. And go to TigSource for our devlog too, I guess. And have a very good day. Thank you for spending time to listen to me yammer on about numbers and how to say how old you are. And I hope to see you next time. Oh, before I end this, I will say, these actually, I have been a bit busy lately. I said these would be weekly, but, weekly's not working out. It takes some time coming up with lessons, so, these will be, not too far apart from each other, but I'm struggling to do weekly, so we'll just say these come up when they come up. So, anyway, I hope you had a good time listening to me, yammer on. And have a very good day. Thank you all for watching. And I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.